All right, just for fun, it's been sitting for a couple days, dropping off this weekend. Actually, my buddy's picking it up to do the cage. Let's check out this cold start. Coolant temp 64, ethanol content, well, 76%. Alright, so some quick BS updates aside, I had Holly send me a 7.5-inch dash to set up and mess with the expansion kit. I want to do a whole video on that and show people how it works. A lot of people were interested in that. People are wondering, do the bigger dash kits work with the Terminator? And yes, they do. There's specific firmware to make it all work. It has been working great. It looks good. Everything else is good. I cleaned up a bunch of the wiring, as you can see, and put some of the dash in and everything else. Everything's pretty simple and nice and neat. I did some zip ties and other things. Another thing that I did was I hated this eBay style. This you can do push or pull, the blade design. You can do push or pull, flat up against the rad, no shroud. I think these are garbage. I don't like them, even super expensive. I don't care whatever you bought. Awful, dumb, don't like them. So I messaged the dimensions to my buddy at Collis Truck Parts, and I'm like, do you have any small but fierce looking shrouded rad fans in these dimensions? And I sent him like 15 by 17 is the size of the plated core and stuff in here. And he's like, yeah, like a 07 Ram 1500 fan, which costs nothing. So it came with this huge shroud that clips onto everything, and I cut it all off square and put it on here, and it's doing an incredible job. I much prefer shrouded fans. I even drilled holes in the shroud, and it holds on nice and tight. And the only other stuff that I did was, there's a lip here. Now it is gone. There was a lip, and I shaved that to get the rad a little bit farther back just to fit the fan. I always like to have a preference of the fan. Other small things, I think I just threw zip ties on a lot of stuff. Like I said, I cleaned up a lot of the wiring inside. My buddy is gonna weld the cage in for me. He does a lot of cage stuff. So we just want him to do it. So he will do a nicer job just to make sure the welds and everything are pretty. We're leaving it up to him. So if the welds aren't pretty, whatever. Not gonna really worry about it. I think while we're doing some other stuff, we may put a chute mount on, because this thing's gonna need a chute eventually. And overwhelming majority of you were like, we're not gonna kill you for safety equipment. So it's one of those things where we're gonna need it. So we're not gonna attach it to the budget that it takes to go that speed, but I think we're gonna get belts and chute and levers. I think what we might do is just weld a chute receiver on and then put Mark's race car chute on just for the day, and then, you know, eventually get one specifically for this. Other than that, everything else is doing great. The car is running good. I just did a video where I fire it up and check all the fluids. It hasn't been running like a week, probably like 5 days to 7 days. So I came out here and just fired it off dead cold to show how good it starts up. I always like doing that because I always kind of laugh. A little bit of hate when people, their cars don't start. I'm like, just take a second to make them start. It's not that hard. So I always kind of laugh when someone's stuff doesn't start, and I get pissed if my stuff doesn't start. So I always like to make sure it starts nice. The other thing I did do is I put dump tubes on. So I got a dump tube there because this one was just blowing at the balancer, and I got a dump tube on that guy too. So now we got those to get the exhaust gas out of the engine bay, even though it doesn't seem like it was affecting this guy at all. So that's primarily it for the quick pre-roll cage update. And then as soon as we get done with the cage, it's going to be track time. I'm very excited for all of that.